Databases. What are databases? Why do we use databases? And what you as a QA should know about databases. So let's start with, I've divided this into 3 categories, which is the most common, less common, and the particular case. So in all of these cases, we're going to analyze the perspective of a QA engineer. So most common things that you will, or tasks that you will actually get as a QA, as a responsible QA engineer. This can be manual, automation, and so on. But yeah, this applies to both. So let's get on with it. Most common task you get for a QA in the database or related to a database is that you will need to do some queries, which is to retrieve some data or to update some values in a DB. This can be done via tools, depending on the database you're using, SQL, Oracle, or whatever database you're using. This can be done via a specific tool for management, for database management, or you can do it via a script. So you run a script to update and so on. So select blah blah, select all, let's say select all from students where grade equals 10, let's say. So you can retrieve all the students that have the grade 10. So you get the point. This is the most common task that you will have as a QA related to databases. That's why if you checked my video with the interview, you will see that most people, or majority of people, when talking about the databases, they don't tend to go further on, because for most projects, or for bigger projects, let's say, there are a dedicated team of DBA, which are database engineers, which can perform all the major operations on that DB. Number 2. Let's move on to less common task as a QA related to databases is checking DB configurations, table definition, table relations, foreign key, primary key, making sure that everything is linked together so that the final product, when for example entering some grades to a student, those will be reflected in the respective let's say matter for mathematics or for physics or for whatever. There should be logged there and related to your name, so you got the grades under your name. Yeah, you got it. So this is the less common, let's say, but also it's top there. It's top 2. So they are pretty common, but not that common as just interrogating the DB or updating the DB. Now let's move on to the, let's say, special tasks, or let's say the not exactly the most common, but some type of QA task related to DB that you will eventually have to do. You won't like it, but you will have to do on some projects where you have no DevOps, no DBA, and no support from the dev team, let's say. So which is updating tables. For example, you need a new column, you need to run some scripts to update, I don't know, 1,000 value. You're not gonna do that by hand, you're gonna run some scripts. Also, maybe you will be in a matter to retrieve AWR, which stands for Automatic Workload Repository, or maybe update the database version, or you're using Oracle, I don't know, 10 and you need Oracle 12 or SQL and to a different version. You get the point. But this is the, let's say this is the particular case where you get no DevOps, no DBA team, no support from anybody, so you got to do it yourself. But in relations to database, as a QA engineer, you only, let's say most of the cases, you will only do queries like select, update, delete, insert, and that's it. So maybe a join from time to time, but this is a little, let's say, this is not so common. And joins and so on, yeah, you will have to perform them, but you don't have to remember the syntax every time. So if you did it once, you can search the exact syntax, or depending on the database you're working with, you can search that query and do it really fast. So databases, QA, see you in the next one.